Hello everybody, welcome to another I've Been Playing. Today we're going to be talking about two games, Superliminal and Going Under. First off, Superliminal. It's a puzzle game that is kind of in the vein of, I would say a little bit Portal, but almost more Stanley Parable, specifically in the way it's presented and the narrator I guess it's not going over everything, but every once in a while there is a stop for a sort of narrator light character. The idea behind it is that you are in some kind of sleep study and dream study, and the dreaming that this company has you do is just to help you, I guess. So the different and interesting thing about this particular puzzle game is that it's all a matter of perspective, the puzzles. So you have things that start out one size, and then you make them look, it's kind of hard to describe, but you make them look like they're small and far away, and then like put them up in the corner of the room, but because of the proportions they are with the corner of the room, they fall down and they look much bigger. You'll have to just watch the footage I have playing over this because that's probably as good a description as I can get. You make things shrink and grow depending on perspective. That's what the puzzles are based on. So I didn't find any of them particularly difficult, but they are quite mind-bending. Like as soon as you find the solution, you realize that it wasn't that hard, or wasn't that complicated. Most of them, there may have been a couple in there that were more complicated than others, but most of them are fairly straightforward once you find the correct solution. It's just getting to that correct solution, because you have to remember the perspective changes the size of the object and almost the properties of the object. Size is a property, but for example, you can have, a little block, one of those little letter blocks, and it'll be a normal sized letter block, and then you push it across the room, make it look like it's maybe out a window or something, or just really high up in the air. And once it falls out of the air, because it was tiny from your perspective, but also high up, when it falls, it looks much bigger. And then you can keep doing that to make it bigger and bigger and bigger until it's the size you need it to be. You can also take things through windows, so you can put them through a window or bring it in through a window. You can also pick stuff up from very, very far away, so it'll be very, very tiny if you need it very, very tiny. Generally, you want stuff really, really big, because you want it to either climb up on, or put on buttons, or something like that. But sometimes you can make it really, really far away as well. Or take it from very, very far away. Both are accurate. That, in essence, is the entire game. It's not especially long, and it's not especially difficult. Like I said, the most difficult thing is kind of wrapping your head around the fact that perspective is what changes everything. It's not like just stacking stuff or putting things on buttons or hitting buttons or whatever. You have to use perspective to your advantage. So it can be a bit of a difficult concept to get used to, but once you get used to it, it goes pretty quickly. It's not a very long game. I'd say it took me, I don't know, no more than 4 hours probably. But it was pretty fun. It was a pretty good puzzle game. It was different. I've never really done a puzzle game or any game that does perspective quite like this, or plays with perspective or your sense of reality. The one thing I would say is that because it's a bit mind-boggling sometimes, you may need to step away for a break every once in a while, just because your head will be in such a different headspace when you quit, and you'll just... that astronaut who came back and then forgot that gravity existed, and he just, keeps trying to put stuff in air. It's a little bit like that, except you're not an astronaut, and you're hopefully not trying to make your pens hover, but it just makes your brain work in a different way. And once you turn the game off, it can be difficult to turn your brain off completely. So if you're into puzzle games, I do recommend it. I know it's on PC, it is also on Xbox Game Pass as of recording, and I imagine it's on other consoles as well. The second game we're going to talk about, which is also at time of recording on Xbox Game Pass, is Going Under, a roguelike or rogue-lite, still not fully clear on the difference between those two, where you play as an intern who gets roped into killing the monsters and the other startups in the area, which sounds like a really weird premise now that I say it out loud. But it's basically just a dungeon crawler roguelike. So in this particular one, at least as far as I've gotten in the game, I'm not quite done with this one yet, but there are 3 other companies in the building you work in. You work for a company named Fizzle, and you're an unpaid intern. So of course, they make you go and fight all of the monsters in the other areas, because their bosses have been taken over by evil artifacts, is the vibe I'm getting from what I've completed so far. I have completed 2 out of the 3 of them, and I know there's gotta be more than that. not getting into story spoilers or anything, but I can tell that there's probably going to be more than just the 3. But that is pretty much the essence of that game. You're going through, you're killing monsters, you're trying to get to the bottom level to take out the boss, just like most other dungeon crawler deals. You also have specific tasks from your coworkers, so you have, I want to say like 5 coworkers, each of whom will have different tasks for you over the course of the game. And they each have 3 different levels of tasks, and they give you boosts to use in the, or special benefits to use in the dungeons if you equip them as a, I don't know, a supervisor while you're in there or something? Or it calls them mentors, but it's not like they're doing any of the work. You're the intern. But they give you specific bonuses, like one of them has you start each floor with a few friend monsters. One of them gives you extra cash to buy things once you get to a shop. One of them makes it so you can take stuff even if you don't have money to buy stuff in the shop, although that saddles you with a giant, like a ball and chain that says debt on it, so you're slowed down a bit until you get enough money to get back in the positive, as well as a few other benefits. So they each have 3 levels you have to increase as you're going through. You start with 1 benefit from a person, and then once you make all the levels, do all their tasks, you have 4 benefits from that person if you equip them. You also have benefits from actual skills, so there are a ton of skills you can earn and unlock over the course of the game, and you have to get them endorsed, which just means that you have to use them enough for the 100% I've used this bar to fill up, and then you can equip them at the station along with a mentor, and that'll give you another benefit. So it's a lot of fun. It was one of those things where I'm like, oh, just one more run, just one more run. A lot of those have that. Some of them do it more successfully than others, and I'm having fun with this one. Every once in a while I do get a little annoyed with it, but I think that's just because I play it for a long time and then I just reach a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm not actually making any progress, maybe I should stop. That said, this doesn't feel to me like it's going to take as long as some of the others. I've already done, like I said, 2 of the dungeon areas, or 2 of the bosses. I've beaten one of the bosses multiple times because you can still go through after you've beaten the boss, because some of the tasks you get are gonna be, I mean, there are only 3 areas. Some of them are gonna pop up after you've been through that area and defeated that boss, so you can still go in there, so you can defeat bosses multiple times. I don't know if there's any advantage to doing that other than maybe collecting skills you haven't gotten yet or haven't endorsed yet, but even so, I feel like, you know, the core part of the game, the dungeon crawling itself, probably won't take you too long. I haven't beaten the boss of the 3rd area, but I have gotten there, so I know what it's like, I know what they do, I know how they attack. It's just getting down there again that's gonna be the major problem. The thing is, I don't know what comes after that. I don't know if more open up, or, well, I have a guess, but I'm not going to elaborate because you want to find that out for yourself, right? So I don't think just the 3 dungeons are the end of it. I still, however, don't think the game would take that long. Oh, I forgot, one of the main things about this game is you don't really have weapons on your person because you're just supposed to be a person and you're going elsewhere. So a lot of the things you use to fight with, well, all of them, you pick up in the dungeons you go to, but some of it's stuff like you have spears, maces, swords, stuff like that, but you also can pick up keyboards and laptops and like fans, candles, general office equipment like office chairs even, to fight the monsters. So the big stuff is big and heavy, but it deals a lot of damage as you'd expect, but you also have little stuff that you can hit with really quickly like a keyboard, but the stuff breaks, so you have to keep collecting and hitting and collecting and hitting and then breaking and hitting and collecting and over and over and over and over and over again. But I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not generally good at finishing these types of games. I'm trying to finish this one though, just because a lot of the time they take a lot more time than I think they will, or just sometimes they're good but not quite good enough to hook me in. But I want to see where this one goes. I have an idea where it's gonna go. I kind of have an idea what's happening and or going to happen, but I want to see it play out. Well, those are the games I've been playing. What do you think? Do either of those sound good to you? Have you played either of them? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, consider subscribing. I do one of these every Monday, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that you can check out. I hope you'll join me. See you next time.